Joining me now, New Hampshire Republican Senator Kelly Ayotte, a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Senator, welcome. Good morning. Good to have you with us today.
Thank you, Martha.
So what's your reaction to the deal and to the president's words that you just heard?
Well, my reaction, Martha, is from what we know at this point, we're reading the 100 pages that just were released by the administration, is that unfortunately this deal does not address our national security needs or the needs of Israel or our allies in the region, because it does not require Iran to dismantle its nuclear program. And in fact, what's very disturbing, what we have heard, is that it does not allow anytime, anywhere inspections of their military facilities or other areas where they may have their nuclear program materials and their enrichment programs. So that's a real concern. We're going to look at that very closely. And let me just add one point that really bothers me. Yeah. This is, in my view, appears to be a historic capitulation when it comes to the arms embargo and the ICBM resolution, in other words, their missile program. They're the largest state sponsor of terrorism. Last week in the Armed Services Committee, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff told me and said publicly that under no circumstances should we relieve pressure on Iran when it comes to their arms embargo or their missile program. And here we've done it.
Okay, it's an excellent point. And when we went into this negotiation, the idea was that we would be dismantling, limiting forever their ability to ever build a nuclear weapon. The arms part of this was not even on the table in the early parts of these discussions. And now, as you point out, we've ended up grouping into this discussion a release on weapons after 5 years. 5 years from now, Iran can start dealing in arms in the Middle East, which is a huge boon for them. In 8 years, they can start dealing in missiles in the Middle East. So this is a big change and something that was unexpected until just over the last couple of weeks. So, Senator, you know, what about what is being touted as the positive side of this deal, though? You know, what would your side have put forward that would have eliminated 2/3 of the working centrifuges in Fordow and in Qom, and also the depletion of 98% of the uranium stockpile to 2%. I mean, don't you think that's a pretty good development?
Martha, here's what we needed to do. We needed to require them to dismantle their program, allow them to have a peaceful nuclear program. What we have here and what appears from this agreement is that we're going to have more proliferation in the Middle East because of the legitimization of their nuclear program for weapons purposes with the time frames in this agreement. And so the Sunni nations are going to want this capability too, so we're going to end up with more danger in the region. And I believe that our position should have been what the original position was, which dismantle your program. You do not need to enrich for a peaceful program. In addition to that, as I understand this agreement, they're going to be allowed to continue research and development on advanced centrifuges. You certainly do not need advanced centrifuges for a peaceful nuclear program. So we are legitimizing their program. It's going to result in more conflict in the region, more proliferation in the region. And so I believe the administration from the beginning really conceded too much. But right now, as I mentioned earlier, I believe that this capitulation on the arms embargo and the missile program. Look what Iran is doing in the region, supporting so much terrorism. In Yemen, Hezbollah, the murderous Assad regime, they're supporting the Taliban. All of this, there doesn't seem to be any conditions in this agreement that they should act like a person who, or a country that wants to be part of this international community in a peaceful way.
We know Benjamin Netanyahu is very concerned obviously, about the hundreds of millions of dollars that Iran will be given in this deal that he believes will go into the coffers of proliferating terrorism by the most well-known state provider of terrorism in the world. And let's put that map back up, because Iran is involved in has its sort of tentacles into all of these countries. Iran, of course, Iraq, Israel, of course, has been, is obviously a stated enemy. Syria, they've backed the Assad regime, which we said we wanted to topple if they stepped over the red line. Afghanistan as well. Yemen, backing the Houthi rebels. So there's an huge, extensive reach of Iran in this region now. And how does this change our alliances with our Sunni allies and with Israel, since we've been willing to do this deal?
It's deeply troubling for our alliances in the region, because you've seen the Prime Minister saying that this is a historic mistake. For Israel, this is something that is an existential threat to Israel, but it's also a threat, an existential threat to us, to allow the largest state sponsor of terrorism at this point, as we're seeing what's in this agreement, arms relief within 5 years, not conditions-based, missile relief, and please, people need to understand, that means an ICBM that could hit the east coast of the United States of America, we're going to allow within, I believe, 7 years in this agreement, and then a legitimized nuclear program, and then cash for more support for terrorism that doesn't appear to be limited in any way or conditions-based. So this, for our allies in the region, the Sunnis, we're going to see them wanting to also have nuclear weapons capability. We're going to hear from the Prime Minister, and we've heard already about the deep concerns about Israel, but also for us, this is about our security and about Iran's support in the region for terrorism undermining our interests, and we can't allow the largest state sponsor of terrorism to have a legitimate path to a nuclear weapon, which is what this agreement appears to do over a period of time.
Senator Kelly Ayotte, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.